Guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So today we're going to show you how to turn your stratocaster decked saddles into a floating tremolo system. Now, a lot of strats already come set up as floaters. My standard strat did. This one I think this one was already decked, but I have been doing some upgrades on this one. A little bit at a time. I've thrown 3 humbuckers in it. I've put on some black knobs, black boat. Roller bearing string trees, an actual must for a strat. Even works great for the Telecaster, even though tellies don't generally come with tremolos or whammy bar systems, but at least mine didn't. Anyways, I find it really does help even with the telly to keep them in tune with the roller bearing string trees. So I will be upgrading my standard strat. So in today's video, I wanted to show you guys how to set this up as a floater. Now there's a lot of videos on YouTube of different ways they explain how to do it so that this will happen or that will happen and so on. One of the biggest things that is pretty common that you're going to find is that it's about 1/8 of an inch. Now I like anywhere between 1/8 of an inch and just slightly a little bit less, because the one thing about a whammy system that turned me off was on a Floyd Rose system, and as soon as you yanked it back, kapow, there goes the strings. You know. Anyway, so my standard strat came as a floater. Didn't care for it at first, so I decked it. But then it creates its own issues, right? Depending on the type of saddles that are on there. And, you know, by the time you get the radius set and the heights and everything else, and it's kind of like, I gotta tweak a little bit more on this one string, you know? And maybe it's because it needs to be a floater. Who knows? I have no idea. But maybe I'm just out a couple tweaks on the saddle heights. But at least on the one string, because all the rest of them came out perfect. But I did actually get it dialed in without having to undeck it. I did get that string finally dialed in, and it was just a couple little tweaks. But anyway, so I thought, well, maybe we'll turn this one into a floater and see what happens. So you're going to need a couple of tools, and you're going to also want to take your whammy bar off first. And to save a little bit of time, I've got my trusty drill out. So the first thing you want to do is take off the plate. Okay, so we shall put this aside. Now I've got 4 springs in this system. And we're going to take it down to 2 springs and see how things go. So, get out a pair of pliers. And we want this one gone. And this one's going to go. And it goes there. Now, you don't want to leave them like this. Okay, you want to move these each in at least 1 marker, and that's all we've got to work with anyways. But you can leave them on the outsides, and I actually would, because it creates even tension on your high end and your low end. So we're going to have to still take them off from here, but the idea of having the whammy bar on here is this is now going to release a lot of pressure. Now just by pulling those 2 springs off, I've actually created a little bit of pull here. Okay. Now, where'd it go? There it is. So we're going to tune this up. We may not have to change the angles. it. Getting closer though. Okay, so it looks like we've got a little bit of height and everything's staying stationary there. Okay, so it's giving us some good lift. However, I still want to bring these springs in a little bit at the back end. And this is where you're going to want your whammy bar installed, and then put this on your lap and configure things out a little bit. So we're going to have to pull the wireless out of there for a second. So what you want to do next is hold your whammy bar as if you're pulling up on it. So you got to push down basically. And then change your positions. Now, by changing the angle in at the back end here, okay, as you'll see now they're inward here and outward there, you're getting your even pull here because you want to be able to pull, well, push and pull at the same amount of pressure end to end here, right? So this way nothing's offset, and you want to bring these in so they give a little bit more stretch, and then this way you can adjust the rest of it from your plate here if you need to. So this should have actually done a little bit, so it is actually stretching the springs a little, which is good. And so now I would say we've got just a little bit past a 1/16. So let's check and see how stable this is going to be. So now I'm running sharp, so now I'm going to have to drop the tuning down a little bit. Which will lift the back of the bridge. That's actually pretty good there. Okay, so I'm gonna have to actually say, I'm gonna have to turn the screws actually in just a hair. Because what I see is happening is when I release it, it has like this little spot where it's just a little bit not fully coming back down where it should be properly. So for this, I'm just gonna use a little turn. And you wanna make sure to keep the depths even on your plate. So I'm just kind of eyeballing this. That looks pretty good. So you want to keep this straight across so that each end is as close as you can get to exactly the same depth. And then you'll be okay there. Now that should have pulled everything sharp a bit, and it did. That goes to a D sharp. And there's still just a little tiny bit there of just like a dead spot. So I'm gonna say we're gonna bring this just a little tighter. Right about there. I think that'll work. And make sure you use screwdrivers that properly fit the heads, like as perfect as you can get, you know what I mean? Now this is going to change. If you put 10 gauge strings on your Strat, it will change and you will have to add another spring in. You can't get away with 2 springs. But I run 9s on all my guitars except for my SG. Okay, that's actually that's sucking it back a little too far. It's not leaving me that much, so we're gonna have to back these off. This is where the whole fun of dialing it in comes in. Half a turn, 1 turn, half a turn. Half, 1, half. Now, depending on how far you have to take this, this may or may not affect your intonation. With my other Strat, when I refloated it, it didn't affect anything. So I was okay with my intonation. Okay, that brought it up. And you are going to retune a couple of times until the tension pull balances out your bridge. Because as you're tuning, you're adding more pressure between the headstock and the bridge, and you're pulling at it. But you're only going to be able to pull it to a certain point, and it stays in tune after that. Through it again. We're almost there. Okay. Now it's staying in tune. Now it stays in tune really well, even after doing all that. So I'm going to show you, I've actually ended up with a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch. But that's good, because now right where I'm sitting, and it is staying in tune, I only have to turn the screws in about a half a turn each, and then a little bit of retune, and that should set it exactly the way I want it. Because I don't want too much back pull, because I don't want to snap strings. So half turn on that one. And half turn on that one. Actually a little under on this one. There we go. That should be good. So now I'm going to be running sharp, so now I got to reflatten. So what I'm going to do is just flatten them first, then tune up to the tension that I need. Like I said, it does take a couple of retunes to get that tension solid where you're going to need it. And you know, like, don't discount anything. Like, tune it a couple of times and double, triple check it. Make sure it's in tune. Because just because you go through it means nothing. Because as soon as you relieve any pressure, it also affects your neck too. We're almost there. you'll know as you see, like your pitch is going to run lower each time, even though you just tuned it. When you start seeing the little levels on your tuner go up closer the next time around, you know you're getting closer and closer. Okay, we're good. Bingo. All set to rock. And we ended up with, bam, that's really close to 1/8 of an inch. So I'll give you guys a bit of a look here close up. So that's what we end up with for our height, and you can see it in here. Okay. There's the other side. And there's our back side. And that's how you set them up. Now, that's the way I do it anyway, so you can do it the way I do it, with the way I just showed you. And of course, if you look at your springs, now this plate has got 5 across at the back. So you use the, you don't use the 2 outsides, you use the first 2 inside ones on the plate back here, and use your far outside ones here, so it gives even pull to that block, okay? So, and voila, a little bit of tweaking and tuning, and you're got yourself your floater set up, and it'll stay in tune, which is great, because that's what you want. And the roller bearing trees, like I said, they do really help, because the Strat uses 2 of these things, so 4 strings are actually in use by the rollers, and they need to be able to slide, right? Move in and out as you use the whammy bar, because when you drop down to dive, you're loosening off all that tension, and things are getting pulled, right? And then you got to lift back up, so you don't want to get caught in there. And even Fender, they have a neat little set of very, very small string trees. They're not rollers style. And I think they absolutely suck, because that's too much of a pinch. You need something with a little bit of diameter on it, right? And that can free roll. And that's where these things come in. And I got these actually from wish.com. You can get them, I believe Banggood carries them. A lot of AliExpress you can find them on. A lot of places carry them. And they're really super inexpensive, but they work. And I've been using them on all my guitars that have roller string access. Came from the factory with it, so I use them. Actually, one of my students has them on their guitar as well. Actually, I think on both their guitars now. And works really well, helps it keep in tune, even if you're not using the bridge as a floater system. Even if you're just doing dive bombs down, they work, and they help keep the guitar in tune really well. So anyways, that's it. That's what I wanted to show you guys and how I do it. And it's real simple, and my intonation stayed on, which is good. Really happy for that. So now it's just a matter of putting everything back together, and I can do that off camera because I'm sure everybody knows how to put screws back in. Now, you did see me take these screws out with my drill. I will not be putting them back in with my drill. Taking something apart quick and easy, that's one thing, but putting it back together, I like to use manual screwdrivers for that. I don't like power tools for that because you never know what's going to happen. But anyways, there you go. That's it. And enjoy. Hope you liked the video. And if you did, give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, hey, go ahead and smash that button and then hit the bell for notifications. We'll catch you on the next one. Ciao.